the 1st of September, 1939. With over 1.5 million soldiers, supported by around 2,600 tanks and approximately 1,390 aircraft, Nazi Germany launches the invasion of Poland, marking the beginning of the Second World War. Hitler views the campaign as essential to expanding German territory and overturning the post-World War I international order, which he claims unjustly humiliated Germany. The invasion is brutal and swift, combining ground assaults with relentless aerial bombardment, a new military strategy that would come to be known as Blitzkrieg or Lightning War. As German soldiers begin their invasion of Poland and the world watches the outbreak of a new war, in Munich a different kind of horror is coming to light. A sexual deviant and violent predator is facing trial for raping, mutilating and murdering 90 girls and women, some of them as young as 12 years old. His name is Johann Eichhorn. Johann Eichhorn was born on the 8th of October 1906 in the village of Aubing, then part of the German Empire. He grew up as the eldest of 8 children in a poor but caring household. His parents, Johann and Magdalena Eichhorn, worked as day laborers and did their best to provide for their large family despite limited means. Eichhorn was also the grandson of the serial killer Johann Berchtold, who would later become known as the Strangler of Maxvorstadt. After completing elementary school, Johann Eichhorn trained as a fitter and later secured employment as a shunter for the Deutsche Reichsbahn, the German National Railway, where colleagues saw him as helpful and dependable. However, behind this facade, he struggled with disturbing impulses from a young age. Beginning in 1928, Eichhorn started attacking young women in western Munich, threatening them with either a pistol or a knife before he beat them, raped them, and sometimes also robbed them. It is widely believed that his first victims were his own 2 sisters. Eichhorn's violent impulses, which had remained hidden from the outside world, finally erupted in a deadly act. In October 1931, he encountered 16-year-old Katharina Schätzl, a maid from the small town of Wolnsach, during the Oktoberfest in Munich. Gaining her trust, he invited her on a bicycle ride toward the village of Ebenhausen. Along the route, Eichhorn suddenly turned violent. In a secluded area, he raped Katharina and strangled her to death. He then tried to cover up the crime by weighing down her body with stones and throwing it into the nearby Isar River. Her corpse eventually washed ashore south of Munich. Katharina Schätzl was his first murder victim. Previously, he had only committed rapes. Despite the efforts of the Munich police to identify the victim and find the killer, the investigation stalled and Eichhorn remained free to continue his violent spree. On the 30th of January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg, and in May of the same year, Eichhorn joined the Nazi Party. The same year, Hitler established the Reich Ministry for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda, with the goal that this agency would control all forms of mass communication in Germany. At its peak of influence, the ministry employed 1,500 employees spanning 17 departments. Censorship policy was produced and implemented by the Reich Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. As such, Goebbels oversaw the publication of all media that was to be widely distributed: literature, music, newspapers, and public events. Any material that threatened the reputation of Hitler's government or spoke ill of the regime was immediately censored and retracted. The crimes of the Nazi Party member Johann Eichhorn would later fall into this category. In May 1934, Eichhorn struck again. While riding through Forstenrieder Park near Munich, he encountered Anna Geltel, a newlywed and the wife of a hairdresser. Eichhorn pulled her from her bicycle, and when she resisted, he shot her in the back of the head with a pistol. He then dragged her body into nearby bushes and mutilated her with an 18-centimeter knife. A few months later, in September, he attacked 25-year-old clerk Berta Sauerbeck while she was cycling through the Milbertshofen district. After she too resisted his assault, Eichhorn shot her in the head, but she initially survived. He buried her alive under a pile of trash in a garbage pit, where she later died. In 1935, Eichhorn married a woman named Josefa. The marriage produced 2 children, but the appearance of a stable family life did little to restrain his urges. According to Johann Eichhorn, Josefa had sexual preferences similar to his own, which, in his view, made the marriage somewhat stable. Despite this, he continued raping women throughout the mid-1930s, though these assaults did not result in murder. Then, in the summer of 1937, he committed another killing. His victim, 25-year-old seamstress Rosa Eigerlein, was shot in the head near the town of Germering, and as before, Eichhorn mutilated her body after death. A year later, in the autumn of 1938, 23-year-old domestic servant Maria Jörg became his final confirmed victim. He murdered her in Forstenrieder Park, not far from where his first killing had taken place. On the 29th of January 1939, Eichhorn attempted to molest a 12-year-old girl in public. This time, however, he was seen by a passers-by who intervened and managed to overpower the 1.73-meter-tall man. The sexual deviant and pedophile Eichhorn was arrested on the spot and taken into custody. During pre-trial detention, he confessed to multiple murders over the course of several months of interrogation. Eichhorn was also evaluated by doctors and psychologists. After his arrest, further details were recorded. He was slim and muscular, with large hands and a wide mouth. Despite his relatively young age, many of his teeth were missing, and the remaining ones were discolored, some even black. Physically, he appeared unremarkable. Mentally, however, he was deeply disturbed. According to the psychological report, he was not intellectually below average, but was described as an ethically and morally inferior, unstable, weak-willed, sexually exceptionally driven psychopath who prepared his crimes systematically and carried them out purposefully. When asked why only 5 of his numerous rape victims had to die, Eichhorn explained that he reached for a weapon instinctively if the girls resisted fiercely, as he had no idea what else to do in such moments. Once they were dead, he said, they could be fully his. Eichhorn's trial was held before the special court in Munich. He was charged with 5 murders and 90 rapes, though he only admitted to 37. The evidence was overwhelming. Witness testimony, forensic findings, and his own statements left no doubt about his guilt. The court sentenced him to death by guillotine. His wife Josefa divorced him shortly after the verdict, changed the family name, and left Aubing with their children to escape the lasting stigma. Just days before his execution, Johann Eichhorn had written a farewell letter from prison to his former wife and children. He wrote, "After I have committed grave injustices, I must also expect terrible consequences. I myself expressed the wish not to see you again." Johann Eichhorn was 33 years old when on the 1st of December, 1939, he was executed by guillotine at Stadelheim Prison in Munich. Although his crimes were among the most brutal in German criminal history, Eichhorn's name remained largely unknown for decades. One likely reason was his membership in the Nazi Party, a fact that, at the time, led to censorship and efforts to suppress the case. Public interest did not resurface until 2007, when Andrea Maria Schenkel fictionalized his story in her novel Kalt Eis, published in English as Ice Cold. Today, original materials from the investigation, including police files, wanted posters, and the knives Eichhorn used to mutilate his victims, are displayed in the Munich Police Museum under the grim label The Beast of Aubing. Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.